So for this episode of Let's Build a Replica, we're going to be building a Clone Trooper helmet. This one is going to be Rex's helmet, just because of the fact that I'm going to be printing off a slightly smaller one for 5s, because I would like to use a 5s one for potential future cosplay use. Whereas Rex, I'm totally cool with just making that more for display. The only reason I'm making a second one is just because of the fact that this one is a little bit big. So if you are 3D printing off this model, the model is by Colonius. It's free on Thingiverse. It's a wonderful model topographically, but I will say that it is a little bit big, and so if you are going to print it off, I'd recommend printing it off at maybe 90% scale. I think that would probably be a good number, maybe even 85 depending on how tall you are. Scale your models, don't just print things off. Don't make the same mistakes I did. But either way, this one's going to look great on display, and I'm going to keep finishing this one up for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into this build. I decided I'd take you guys in a little bit closer on the action here. Let's get good. We are ready to glue the base of the helmet together. There we go. Okay, now let's stick them together. And these are going to get plastic welded together with a soldering iron, but that is a problem for a bit later. Now that the pieces are dry, we're going to glue these two halves together. Just clean up our workspace a little bit, and then we'll get to plastic welding.
In case you don't know what plastic welding is,
basically you use this as a solder, and you basically hit the gaps with this more on the inside, but you can also use on the outside to start helping to fill the seams. And yeah, it basically, because you're welding it together, the joints won't break. So I'll show you guys kind of how I'm about to do this real quick. So what's next is I'm going to try out this thing, this electric foot callus remover that I heard about from M&M's prop shop. So yeah, let's see if this works. Okay, so essentially now I'm going to hit this with a 120 grit, and then I'm going to start on the first layer of filler primer. So basically, while we wait for the paint to dry, I guess let's talk a bit about the future of the channel and the future of this series. Basically, I kind of just wanted to do a shift in how I make my videos. I've done a lot of sort of tutorials or showcases or whatever of things that are either finished or just a full-on tutorial series of me building something and being like, hey, here's how you do this thing. And I want to do something that was a bit more engaging for me as well as a bit more engaging for you guys as far as making a more entertaining video. And I feel like it's hard to do when you're doing a tutorial because you're trying to focus more on the instruction. And so this, I just sort of wanted to do a series where I can build something and I can take you guys along with me and I can show you kind of what I'm doing without being super instructional. Maybe I'll talk a bit about what I'm doing just so that it's not like silent and I'm not just fully, you know, slowly building something. But yeah, I think it'll be a lot more fun for me and hopefully a lot more fun for you guys. So yeah, if you've made it this far already, thank you so much for watching, and I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe because it really helps me out. But anyway, we'll wait for this paint to dry and then we will be it's getting a little windy. Well, it's starting to get a little bit windy out here, so I'm kind of just going to do the last little bit, I think, for the day. Maybe I'll put on one more coat of filler primer. But as you guys can see, I mean, it's looking pretty smooth. So right now, I'm just going to get the really bad heavy layer lines. I'm just going to use, I have this little plastic stick here, my Bondo stick, and I'm just going to put some Bondo on it and fill in some of the really heavy areas. So yeah, let's do it. So I just went ahead and decided to continue repeating those steps, filler primer, sanding, just because, you know, and I decided not to film it because it's kind of boring and, you know, you guys already know. You just repeat it until you're happy. And yeah, I think this is looking pretty darn good. So here's the state of the helmet, and it's a new day, and I'm going to keep working on this guy, and we're kind of going to get him painted up as a grunt, even though that won't be the final paint job. I'm definitely planning on doing some markings. I actually haven't fully decided on whether or not I'm doing this one as Rex or 5s. It's going to be one or the other, mostly because I'm going to be doing a second one, but for the second one, I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller because this one is fairly large. It's a little bit almost too big to wear, I feel like, but obviously you guys can't really tell that from here. It's not crazy noticeable when it's on a stand. It looks great for display, but it's just for cosplay use if I ever intend to make a clone costume. Alright, still a little windy, but we're going to try and do this quickly. All I need to do basically is just some little
touch-up areas on this little area of the helmet, so I'll try and spray it on a bit.
So we pretty much have our base here. Now we're going to start masking off some of the details to make Captain Rex's signature markings. But first we're actually going to paint the mouth and the brim black. So yeah, let's do it. Okay, so here's the helmet all taped up. I didn't do the most thorough tape job just because of the fact that this is getting airbrushed as opposed to spray painted. So yeah, let's go airbrush.
So as you guys can see here, my spray booth is actually a little bit too small for the helmet. Kinda, sorta. So we're kinda just gonna make it work. Yeah, there you go.
Now, while that was a really quick and dirty job, there was some overspray. The thing about that is that you can actually really easily take off airbrush paints off of spray paints with some isopropyl alcohol. So once that finishes drying, we'll take off masking tape and we'll see how bad the damage is. And yeah, it'll be super easy. It'll take probably just like 10 seconds with a tiny bit of isopropyl and it'll look great. So I didn't worry too much about it being squeaky clean of a paint job just because of the fact that it's getting weathered anyway. But you don't want to have any small lines or anything where the masking tape was. So yeah, let's wait for it to dry and we'll take a look. So it is now dry and we're going to take off this masking tape. As you guys can see, I painted the frown black. That's mostly just to make it a bit more of a Clone Wars live action hybrid. Obviously, if you wanted a more live action accurate one, you could paint the frown a nice gray color. But I may end up lightening it up slightly to just like a dark gray, just so I can be somewhere in between. But I was like, I kind of wanted it to be a bit more Clone Wars style, so yeah. That's a bit of a mess. Okay. So as you guys can see, there was some really bad bleed for some reason over here, but overall it's not bad. These areas will get cleaned up with some isopropyl. Yeah, could be better, but oh well. Okay, so that took a little bit of work, but we finally got it done. I just used some isopropyl alcohol. There's still a little bit of light staining you may be able to see on the helmet here. There's still a tiny bit, but if I wanted to, I could probably just, work a little bit harder to get it off. Make sure you wait till your paint dries. I didn't wait till mine fully dried, and that made it much harder to get off and sort of stain some bits. But overall, this is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking right now. I'll clean up a couple more areas, but actually, since this is a mostly done phase 1 grunt helmet, before we do the Rex markings, I wanted to give it one weathering pass. Now, the reasoning behind this is really weird and specific, but because of the fact that the clones wore their helmets, and their armor white before they got their markings, I wanted to sort of do a pass, then do the markings, then do another weathering pass, because of the fact that then that will make it sort of just a bit more world accurate in a sense. So it'll sort of have almost a couple layers of grime. There'll be grime underneath the paint where you couldn't get it off, and I think that would be really interesting. I didn't do this area gray. As you can see, it's still really blotchy. It's not great. But on Rex's helmet, that section is blue, which is why I'm kind of not worried about that. I'm just going to give it all a sort of a nice weathering just wash. I'm going to do a black wash, I'll do a brown wash, and sort of just make it look nice and realistic and weathered. So yeah, I think we will get right into this. Alright, so yep, now we are all prepped and ready. I did clean up this area a little bit more at the back. It's still not great, but it's fine. It's going to get weathered, and again, this whole section will be blue. So with that being said, let's start some weathering. I basically just have my little paint palette here, and I sort of pour some water into one of the compartments. And then I put a small bit of black paint in there. Sometimes I do the paint first, it all kind of depends. Just a tiny bit of black. Grab a medium sort of brush, and then we'll get to work. Now for this, I'm gonna make sure I have some animated reference here so I can kind of weather Rex's helmet to the animation model. Even though I won't try and be crazy specific about it, but about making it perfect. But Rex's helmet is very dirty in the show, so I'm gonna try and sort of replicate that, especially in some areas like the cheeks, in my opinion, are very dirty. And yeah, let's sort of get to work here. I'm just kind of gonna prop my image up here. Some of that up here. Anyway. As you guys can see, leaving it on a bit longer too lends very well to sort of making that little scarring effect. Like, that looks really good. Same with like right here, right? We're leaving that on a little bit longer. You don't want to totally remove all the paint, because when you remove all the paint, then your thing kind of just looks dingy. You want to add like scarring and actual, you know, weathering bits to your helmet, in my opinion. So as you guys can see now, this is looking really nice. Like, you know, weathering has a way of hiding any of your sort of crimes or mistakes, and yeah, this is really no exception. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this is coming out, and I think very soon we'll start marking the blue for Captain Rex. So one of the things that I really wanted to do with this build was to hand paint all the details, because in the show, and I'm assuming canonically, the clones probably would have hand painted these. I'm still going to use masking tape to help me with my, clean lines and everything, but I am going to be brushing it on just so that it can be sort of just that much more authentic. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to start masking off some lines, and then I'll start doing some of the blue paint. I'll primarily just be doing this section here. I don't know if you can see my reference. I'll be doing the sort of blue sections around the faceplate, and then I'll work on the jag eyes on his forehead. One last thing, since I'm doing Rex, I do need the Rangefinder, which I will be printing off very soon, and I'll finish that up, and then he'll be pretty much good to go. So yeah, let's get started. This process is going to be pretty straightforward, and like I said, since I'm hand painting everything, even less masking required, which is always nice. So yeah, we'll kind of just eyeball it based off the thing. I'll try and give you guys the best sort of angle for this. When doing work like this, I like to kind of landmark things. So I'm like, oh, the blue on the chin sort of is the width-ish of this. Maybe it flares out ever so slightly, but it's about the width of this. So we're gonna start with that. That's not bad. That's a great look. Then we will continue that line up the cheek. Also try and clean up that line there to make that a really nice transition point. Something like that, I think, is pretty good. Here, so first, actually, since there's blue that also goes around this top bit, I'm actually just going to paint all this blue right now, and then worry about the jag eyes. Here we go. It's not bad. It's a little streaky, but let's see if we can fix that. Yeah, it looks a little thin right now, so it'll probably take a couple coats for it to look good. But again, if it doesn't, I'll just go in with an airbrush and we'll make it extra pretty. I just wanted to see if this would work because, the Clone Wars show is one of my favorite pieces of Star Wars media. No, I really don't like Attack of the Clones that much. But I did think it would be a cool idea to have a realistic thing just because it's in, I'm making it in the real world. So I thought that would be kind of cool to do something like that. So yeah, we'll see how this looks, and if it's not good, then the nice thing about paint is you can kind of just layer it up, really. Just keep layering it, even if you're not super happy with, one pass. You can just go back over it again. It's not bad. It's really not bad. And then yeah, I'm also going to paint this little section at the back here as well. As you guys can see right up here, this is looking really good. I'm really happy with how that's looking. It's looking not bad at all. I'm actually pretty happy with how this blue's coming out right now. This is really not bad at all. This is still a tiny bit patchy, but try and remedy that. I really did just want it to have that hand-painted effect, as opposed to it looking crazy polished. All polish might look good. I think that if this was to be a real thing, I think that the clones obviously would have sort of just taken some taken some paint and just sort of kind of lathered it on there, you know. And obviously this doesn't have to be perfect, because once again we're going to do another weathering pass. So he's looking good. I'm just gonna keep waiting, keep doing the, you know, multiple passes. Got to work on this section back here a lot. Okay, so now we'll just peel up the masking here. I think that's pretty good. And the nice thing about acrylic paint is that it doesn't really bleed, so yeah. There we go. That looks pretty darn good in my opinion. There we go. Alright, that's the blue markings of Rex done. Obviously still got weather it, but I am pretty happy with that. Pretty darn good for him painting. Oh, actually, I'm probably gonna have to paint blue in there, but yeah. Alright guys, sorry if you can hear the 3D printer in the background. I'm just printing something off, but we're ready for the next part. So essentially what I did is I found a sort of design of the Jag eyes for Rex online, and I basically just scaled them, kind of just did a few different sizes, and these ones I think look the best proportionately. So we're just basically going to tape these down and sort of use them as stencils. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Some people would use something like a Cricut or whatever, but I just find that this works pretty good for me. So yeah, just cut these out with an X-Acto blade. It took like 2 minutes, so let's tape them down. As you guys may also be able to see, I kind of got impatient and weathered this. I'll show you guys how I did this with the Jag eyes, but I'll just explain it right now. I just used some sandpaper and just hit the acrylic paint really lightly. It's one of the benefits of using acrylic paint for something like this, is that you can really scrape it off and not damage the wet paint underneath. So yeah, and we'll just sort of tape these on. This design is kind of in line with that, so I'll sort of do something like this. Just kind of gonna trim the stencil a little bit and try and get these looking as accurate as possible. Yep, that's really good. Insert Mario sound effect. Ba-ding. I don't know what that was. Anyway. Okay, and I'm just gonna copy this shape to the other side so that they can be even. So here, as you guys can see, I'm just going to line these two up, and then I'm kind of going to try and cut out. Yeah, I'm going to cut that same angle and everything, and cut off the same amount of material. My scissors are really filthy. Sorry about that. Trying to cut out this sort of same shape here, and then also, yeah, well, it should be pretty much symmetrical. There's a little more material on the other one, but I don't think that'll be a problem. Yeah, let's just tape these guys down. When we go to paint this, I may have to sort of hold the edges just a little bit because it's not going to lay totally flat, but it should be pretty darn close. And that little point there isn't really able to be taped down. But anyway, that's one. This is kind of an important detail to get right, by the way, the Captain Rex helmet, because of the fact that if they're too far apart, it might make the helmet look kind of derpy, but I'm going to sort of overlap that. You just want to make sure that your points and everything are kind of sitting at the same height. See, that to me this side looks like it's sitting a little bit higher. I'm just going to trim off just the tiniest bit, just so that can kind of sit pretty close to there. Oh, actually, this one does need to be more like. Yeah, actually, like that looks good in my opinion. Okay, good. This may not be the greatest way to do it, but it's my way, so you can take it or leave it. Alright, yeah. If we can just get these guys to sit down, to me that looks pretty much correct. That looks very, very close to what is seen on screen. Just trying to make sure everything looks right. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, proportionately I think that looks great. So I think we are ready for paint. It's the same paint that I used before. I'm just using this sort of generic blue because I think it's a really close match for Captain Rex. But just use a medium-sized brush here. I'll hit the little ones first because those are going to be much easier, and then for the J guys, I'm going to have to sort of finesse this a little bit. They're not, I mean, these are also J guys, but you know what I mean. It's a very easy thing to take these off, but I wanted to record this part, even though we've gone over so much already. I wanted to record this part because this is kind of the super iconic part about Captain Rex. So I'm just going to kind of hold that down, but the shape super close. Okay. I mean, I think that looks really cool so far, but obviously we need another coat. It doesn't need to be the greatest, most consistent paintwork here. Again, this is to emulate hand painting by a clone. Clone race. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I just mean it doesn't have to be perfect because the clones wouldn't have done it perfect. A, and B, it's going to get scuffed up just like that is, and so it'll look different just because of that. That's looking really cool. That's awesome. And while I wait for that to dry, I actually missed a detail. These guys right here should actually be blue as well, so I'm kind of just gonna sort of lean them forward, and we'll just sort of hand paint these on. Because again, guys, this is done by a clone. You guys think the clones take arts and crafts? I don't think so. Actually, JK. This will take about 2 seconds to make this a lot easier on myself and not have to worry about any sort of over bleed or anything like that. I don't know if that inner detail gets painted. As far as like that inner wall, I may end up masking that off. We'll see. Yeah. Like I said, you know, the clones definitely wouldn't have had any sort of artistic training per se. So, if your paint job isn't perfect, it just means that it's more accurate. Big brain play. I don't know why I'm being kind of weird on this portion. I think it's just my eyeballs feel funny, and I've really enjoyed filming this, frankly. It's been quite a blast for me, so as you can tell in my very monotonic voice, I've had so much fun. No, it has been a blast though. I'm having a great time. Plus the printer's running, it's kind of some nice background noise actually. Just the whirring of machines, you know. Makes you feel like maybe you're on a Star Destroyer or something. Listen to that. He's going crazy. He's creating something out of nothing. Just like we are right now. Something out of nothing, right? Guys, we are almost done here. Okay. I think we'll let that dry and then we'll take off that stencil. Let's come back here, do a little more work here. I hope this has been a relaxing video for you guys. I don't know if that's the vibe it's going to be. It's probably too chaotic to be relaxing, but if you guys have found some kind of usefulness or whatever from this, that would be awesome. Still got to paint that back that black, actually. Teehee. Okay. Little touch-ups here, and yeah, I mean, I think he'll be pretty much good to go. I'll wait for it to dry for about a couple minutes, and then yeah, let's get us some J guys. Okay, they are ready. Let's peel us up some masking. Ooh. Oh, isn't that sick? That's awesome. Yup. That is pretty much perfect in my opinion. Wow, that's nice. I'm very happy with that. Just place these stencils over here, but I mean, that looks really good. That's very proportionately accurate to the animated show, and yeah, that is awesome. So before we do the strapping, I wanted to show you guys a little thing that I don't want to say developed, because I sort of have ripped some ideas from other people online, but I wanted to figure out a way to attach the lower neck ring. And right now the helmet's just kind of sitting, as you guys can see. The helmet's just kind of sitting on the neck ring. Obviously, the neck ring hasn't been weathered yet. We will get to that momentarily for the final sort of weathering pass. Anyway, I wanted to try and make a way that I could remove both halves of the neck ring and without using a crazy amount of magnets. Now, there have been some people that have done some things like here, if I can show you guys. There have been some people that have done things like this, where they stack magnets, not on top of each other, but sort of on the sides. See if I can get them to do the thing. Maybe it's there we go. They do them like this. Now that's fine, but that doesn't offer a ton of strength. It's pretty good, but it's not as much as having them, of course, stacked on each other. So I wanted to try and make these little, basically flat sections of foam like this. This is two pieces of, I think, 4mm EVA foam, 6mm, something like that. Stacked on top of each other, and these create little risers where we can glue and attach magnets onto them, so then you can have that entire surface. So I will be able to attach this lower neck ring with just a few magnets. Anyways, I will kind of go ahead and do that to the rest of this so that it can all hold together, but I just wanted to show you guys this method in case you're building one of these helmets. I think it's our RJR Productions has done a method with them stacked sideways, and that totally works great too, but I just didn't have a ton of magnets, and I wanted to just try and do something different. So yeah, let's sort of get to finishing up this helmet. I just realized I totally forgot to turn on my ring light too. Let me see if I can do this so you guys can see better. Now, I won't be able to show you the inside of the helmet. Basically, I have them glued onto this little riser here, and then the second one, I already have a riser attached, so I'm just going to put some glue on here, and then I'm going to sit them on top of each other to make sure that it rests in the proper location. just get some glue on here. Sorry, let me clear up my workspace a little bit. And then yeah, we'll do the exact same thing to the back side of this helmet. Or the back, not back side, the back half, I guess, of the lower neck ring. Yeah, so as you guys can see, it's pretty much just, it's mostly attached to the side, but I have a little support underneath, so it kind of makes this little, it's like a shelf. I think that's a good way to describe it. It's basically you're putting a shelf onto the helmet to be able to attach these. These are 10 by 2 millimeter neodymium magnets, just FYI, and they are very strong, which is why I'm able to get away with only using a couple of these for the neck ring. I may end up, because there's a lot of space there, I may end up using a couple more. I'll just probably order some on Amazon once I have this done, but for now, this is perfect. So, put some glue on top of that. Super simple, guys. This is easy peasy in my opinion. Just move this out of the way so that we'll have more space to be able to do this. And yeah, there we go. You can kind of just use the weight of those two things to press those together, and it should be good. Hopefully that there's no problems there, but I guess we'll see. So the helmet is pretty much complete. The last step was just to install a window tinted piece of plastic for the visor, and now it is pretty much cosplay ready, and I'm so happy with how this one came out. All the files that were used will be in the description of this video, so you guys can go and print this off for yourself. All the files were free, including the rangefinder and the helmet itself. So that will kind of help you guys with your build costs, which is really nice. Of course, it's always great having a free file. So that is pretty much the end of this video. So if you guys could please like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. It would really help me out to continue to keep this channel running. And yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and tell me what your favorite clone is in the comments. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.